Hello friends, to another model review for, you guessed it, another female character. This is from Daniel. He came to me with this request, and just have a quick look, show some points. On this one I won't like mess around and model stuff myself in it because my time is limited now. But anyway, let's get started. I made a few notes that I want to show up. So first of all, I notice by showing it to my grid that this model is made from real-world proportions. So what I mean is my grid setup is set up in a way where each of these black squares represents 1 square meter. So this is, every black line represents like 100 centimeters, and every of these, let me change the background, this one was quite good, and every of these white little lines represents 10 centimeters. Let's get the dark background now. So this character in fact would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 65 or so centimeters high. I mean, which is not huge of a deal. You could rescale it later, but something that I wanted to point out, because when it comes to simulation, simulating certain things, basically all sorts of simulation are based on the my centimeters are based on this Maya unit scale thing, and they're set up in a way that to behave the most accurately and realistically with default settings on a real-world scale. So if I compare this to this actual real-world example, we would need to scale this guy up like 2.75 times, something like that, and then we would get a character that is actually 176 meters tall, which is what we prefer, especially when it comes to cloth rigging and some other rigging techniques as well that are based on of like real world measurements, and you want to stay as accurate as possible. So make sure that you work with a character that is real world scale. Also, I'm not a big fan of having space between the feet and the 0 line. Why? But I mean, it depends on whether Daniel wants to model some shoes on her with like a little bit of heel or something, but I usually model them with the feet, the naked feet planted, and if I want to add shoes, I will just offset that in the rig, which may not be the cleanest way, but yeah, whatever, works out anyway because of how I offset the rig. So I just leave it like this. So let's get started with the actual character. So the first thing that I really notice is pretty overly exaggerated proportion of this area right here, where we have like this is super unnatural angle that we have here. You know, if we were to measure this angle, it would be like the inverse almost of what it needs to be. So it would be what I would just do is just go with this God tool and, you know, get things more soft, especially here this muscle pronounced so much, I would make it much softer and reduce like the sharp volume that we added there. You know, this starts to look a little bit better. So there's plenty of those spots. For example, this here, this is not really, there is no such thing like this. This looks almost like a tree root under the skin, so going ahead and softening this out as well might help get a more relaxed and natural shape to the thing. Also this muscle here might want to have a little bit more softening. And maybe this, although you can exaggerate this, but I wouldn't. I would do it much rather in the leg pose, rather than with just bulging out stuff. So how to show this best? Unfortunately, we can't draw in my like right now. But anyway, so it would be, if you can imagine having the leg line flow from this and like go into the inside, which is in this example is pretty well done. I mean, you get the flow here, but this space here was a little bit too exaggerated in this line, probably a little bit too high. Then here you may want to soften this out as well. The thing is, the more of those extreme muscular details you put in, the harder it will be to have the model still look kind of appealing, and then keep that detail in a sensible way on rigging and deformation. So, as I mentioned in a few other videos, it's much better to just, if you want to have muscular detail, to model it in with some meaningful topology, but keep the model smooth, and then in rigging just have an easier workflow of doing corrective muscle activity shapes and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's that. Then I would probably make, because considering her really wide bottom, you may want to get rid of this rather bony stuff over here and get her a little bit more volume on this area. I mean, as you saw, you still get this nice pronounced shadow, but it doesn't look that bony now anymore. And looking from the side view, I think I've just added something that you probably didn't want, which is a curvature that goes this way, by punching in my volume stuff. So what we can just do is, you know, pull it back just a tad, just a tiny bit. And anyway, looking at real female legs, this curvature inside would be like a very stylized, almost cartoony feature, because normal shaped legs have also a little bit of bending to the outside, but it really depends on your personal taste. I like to have this side of the leg be curved inward as well. These things may probably, well, there's not much to say about these. It will probably look alright. Maybe just soften out a little bit more here too. Then, yeah, so that's that. What do we have more? Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, so another thing before I continue uh, doing some proportion stuff, as I notice, as you see, the model is quite high res. I mean, it's just 12k verts, which is not that high. Unless you want to put it in a game engine, this wouldn't work. But I would mind the polygon density be in meaningful places as well. For example, a place where I really notice it is the backside of the neck, where you have like all of these edges coming down, and you have almost twice as much edges going vertically than you have coming horizontally. And then you really don't need that much vertical resolution. You need much more horizontal resolution to maybe be able to model some nice wrinkling corrective shapes when the head is tilted back. But there is really not much of a vertical creasing in the neck. So you could probably get rid of some poly count here by stopping edges on the backside of your head, where really in most cases there would be like hair or any sort of head or something anyway. So you can stop edges here, have way less resolution on this area, and then try to get a little bit more horizontal resolution here. It's preferable to have a face be as quadratic as possible, and so try to avoid places where there is an edge being more than twice as long as the opposite or the adjacent edge, because then we could even like insert an edge loop, and it would still be, this edge would still be longer than this. So that's something to keep in mind. It's not really like that crucial, but it'll certainly make things make your life on skin weight painting much easier if you have evenly relaxed polygons, because otherwise the formations can get really funky really quickly when you have already like stretched edges, and then you start stretching that area even more on the rigging. Things can get funky. So especially on areas like, for example, the neck, where then you get even like rotation, horizontal rotation, or the arms. And these are all places where you really want to mind your type of edge level of relaxation on the edges. You probably have too much going on here on the boobs. You could, I think, try to relax things. I mean, it looks like you went off using a sphere from which you removed the backside and then attached it to this place, which may seem like a good idea, but as you can obviously see, you have a very high resolution up here. I mean, at least the faces are all pretty quadratic, which is lovely. But then down here, you can see the face size is more than twice as large. So it might be worth trying some different things, like working off of a cube, which is what I usually do, and then, or a very, very, very low res sphere. And yeah, see what you can do from there. Maybe even redriving edge loops, because in this it would be preferable to have an edge loop that comes from this lower base of the breast and then starts to become the pectoralis muscle that joins the arm, like here, right there. So this might be an edge that you would like, an edge flow that you might like to have in order to then pronounce that on a special stressed poses on the character. But I think you've already done a good job getting this edge here looking okay, but considering the polygon count, you may want to like reorder some of the densities to get a little bit more resolution up here, to get some nice defined, to get the option to create some nice and defined shapes on the muscle activity in this area when it triggers, which then also leads me to this clavicle area here, where I think this edge flow is like honestly a no-go. So this entire thing is like the exact counterpart of what you excuse me, the exact counterpart of what you would actually like on this area, because you really want to have an edge that goes this way, where you can get some nice clavicle definition. But currently your edges are doing like everything else but this, as well as here. You want it's a good thing maybe to add an edge that marks the flow of the sternocleidomastoid muscle tendon, so that you can get this very prominent area and have a very easy time on doing the muscle activity shape or corrective shape here. Then as well, come on dude, model a proper ear. Do what I do, model it just once and then reuse it, because that's what I do. Lazy modeler, I like to reuse assets, and since I'm a regular, I like it even more, because when you're able to reuse an entire base mesh, you save huge amounts of time with skin weighting and stuff like that, because you can just import skin weights if you have a standardized weight system and stuff like that. So, you know, getting a model done right once brings you a whole way further. So definitely check out some ear modeling tutorials, get this done once and then reuse it. I mean, there's nothing about it to reuse things that you made yourself. The face looks a little bit odd, I find. I'm not sure about the nose. What you don't have is a good edge flow here to have nostril definition, so you're missing this completely. So if I were to smooth this mesh out, there's really not much going on here, which may be what you want, but I honestly adopt it. So since you modeled this edge loop here, you really could just introduce one edge here and maybe even two of them or whatever, and then you can get your nostril definition done rather easily. So that's that. Then make sure to clean up your mesh, get rid of these kinds of things. This is the first one I see, but I don't know, maybe there's more. Just make sure. Then getting back to the ears, maybe not just before getting back to the face, I would see this extremely smooth like interpolation between the nose and then the upper lip and then going down. I think this is one of the main things that make this face look a little bit odd. And also the strong angle that the lower side of the nose has. If I were to draw a locator, you can see like the nose is like pointing almost up, so I would try to get this like to an angle like this, so that the nostrils and the entire tip come down a little bit more, and then you can like go to a little bit up like this, And then you see the nose does look a little bit bigger now, but at least the shape is a little bit more appealing. What I like in noses on females is when the curvature goes to the inside, like on Disney princess type thingy. Gives them a little more cuteness. I would also take keep an eye on the interpolation between the forehead and the nose. Maybe get don't make it too smooth here. Get a little bit of a carving in. And then probably noticing this, the entire jawline may be too far forward compared to what especially the eye section is doing. Though it may also be that the eyes are just too far in. So try experiment a little bit on this. Maybe you check out. It really depends on what type of character you want to do, because I really don't know if you were trying to make like a realistic proportion face or a cartoon face here, but if you want to go for a realistic style, which is these proportions are like more natural than others I've seen, but so maybe 3D.sk is a good site for you to check out some modeling references. They have some pretty nice orthographical photography of human faces, so pretty good to study these kind of things. Yeah, on the lips also, I really am not quite a huge fan of modeling a smile into the lips, especially not if it's like this much, because it makes the face look silly. So what you can do is pull this down and then pull the last little bit of corner, like with a slight curvature up, which then doesn't make the face look angry or bored or whatever. So like this is not what I want, but this actually where the mouth makes like a nice balanced curve coming up and then going down, and then in the end a little tilt up again. So you can see the mouth looks much more neutral now. It doesn't give this character like this silly appearance it had before. So yeah, that would be that point. Then here on the forearm, maybe on the arms, I would try to see if you can change this, because if we just took a look on this without telling what's the rest of it, I'd say the arm bends in this way, and that comes because of this curvature here and the balance of the straight line. So basically the backside of your forearm, so where you can feel the bone, is normally the one with the straight line, at least on standard 3D models. So you probably want to like reverse this bend here, so that this backside is a straight line, and then have a little bit more bulging on the foreside. So roughly like this, for example. And it's also a good behavior sometimes to model the hand and the rotation of the hand on a natural, like more natural. So this is like, okay, you can do this. So if we were to think that the arm currently, the elbow is currently pointing perfectly back, so to the back, then the natural rotation of the hand is actually pointing down, with a slight rotation forward, which would mean that you could probably like offset the edge connection here by 1 or 2 to the counterclock in this this way, so that the character has an easier time rotating the hand to the front and up, because there's no much more way like back, but you can do a 180-degree rotation like this way. Therefore, modeling the edges already in a slight rotation might be a good idea to prevent the so-called candy wrapping effect on the model a little bit better by using standard twist techniques. So would be another point there. What do we have as? Yeah, and probably from the side view, I notice it's good behavior to have, I mean, not just good behavior, but the legs normally don't blend perfectly into the belly silhouette. So what normally is that the belly comes a little bit more forward, leaving legs like sort of behind on the silhouette. So something more like this, where the belly is not perfectly blending into the leg, but more being in front of it and then coming back, and the leg being more on the side. This will make the body much rounder and smoother, appear much rounder and smoother. Yeah, so that's that. I think that's it for this video. Yeah, just to, I mean, you know it, like, you already know it, but probably just to show what I would call, at least for my where's my material? For my requirements, a good topology. So showing the things that I commented out on the other thing, like comparison, is the clavicle geometry, where you can here really see where the edge loops go and how they flow with the clavicle bone, to be able to shape this very easily. Also on the stern, coming from the back side of the ear, going down, connected to the front side of the clavicle. Of course, having a proper ear. Just do it once again, use it wherever you want. But honestly, this is a quite good model, I think. One last point though. Let's get like this. You may want to change your edge flow here, because currently it's not really supporting leg rotation up. So you may get like weird vertex, like extreme stretching and some artifacts on this area when you rotate the model's leg to the front. Also, I mean, like raising the leg, whatever, because you normally want geometry that flows like this way, so that you can smoothly blend the rotation of the leg into the body. Showing it on this example. This is what I mean. So when I rotate the leg, the entire rotation of this area can be blended between this geometry. As you can see, the edges here are quite stretched as well, because the topology not the best. I'm not the supermodel. I'm a rigger or whatever, but I've experienced some good behavior doing these kind of edges, and not so my first models were also like this, where I just started like from a mud box, space mesh and stuff like that, or modeled my own like cylinder, extruding this the bottom part down and then connecting the holes and stuff, and that leads you to this kind of very grid-like topology. And this is good for sculpting but not good for deformation. And so when I do model reviews, I always keep rigging, deformation and animation in mind rather than sculpting, because that's something that usually had already been done. Yeah, probably here's another example of the polygon density, where I think here this area is like way too dense, there's way too many polygons that you probably don't need to be there. And up here there's not too much going on. You could relax this area and move some of the resolution more towards this area here, especially here to the mid part, where some stuff is going to occur when the character bends. Yeah, so I think that's it for now. Maybe just one point here regarding these kinds of things. There's nothing bad in triangles. It's like an old thing to say, oh, you don't need to have triangles because triangles are evil. You can't have triangles, no one cares anymore. But not having triangles is like having a clean car. You just have a clean car because it looks better, not because it is faster. So trying to get rid of these will make your mesh look cleaner and better designed when it's come to presenting a wireframe of this on a demo reel or to a client or whatever. So here on the hands as well, try to get rid of these sort of random edge distributions to get things more symmetrical, streamlined. Like where's the other thing? Take a look at these hands. You can see how I did it. So this is subdivision level 1, by the way, so there's like one less, but whatever. But you can see how every edge like goes on itself and makes a little bit sense. Also, check out the hands of yours. Yeah, the hands was a comment that I want to do on the hands as well. Modeling like this is okay. It makes a hand look natural and relaxed, and the overall appearance of the model is therefore better. But if you plan on rigging this and you're like a beginning rigger, and things can get hard to get here. In terms of proper oriented joints and figuring out the right rotation angle. It can be a little bit hard on a hand that is already so much curved like this. So trying to model the fingers a little bit more straight might be a better idea. I don't want to say it's impossible to rig this. Of course it's not. It's okay, but for beginners in rigging, it might be better to model the things straight, depending on who's going to rig your character and what their preferences are. I modeled my hands pretty curled too. Not as much as yours, but having a curve already makes the joint placement different, and depending on who's going to read your characters, they might complain, they might not, whatever. But yeah, that's a point that you might want to keep in mind. Again, it's nothing crucial, but just a point. Right, so I think that's it for now. If you have any more questions, you can post the comments, and I'll see what I can do. Until then, have a good time, and see you on the next video. Bye.